So this afternoon, welcome to today's Brown Bag. And our presenter this afternoon is Jevan Howard. So for those of you who have been joining us in the past weeks, we have been focusing on graduates of the department to see where their degree in geography, geology, and geosciences has taken them. We had two late stage career professionals in previous weeks, and this week it is my delight to share with everyone the journey. Well, he will share his journey of Mr. Howard, who graduated in 2018 with a BSc in Geosciences. Subsequent to that, he was awarded a CRIF internship and placed in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the National Emergency and Management Office, NEMO. After that internship, he worked with the Barbados Light and Power Company in the Department of Assessment Management, and now he's working as a GIS assistant at the Caribbean Institute of Meteorology and Hydrology. So I'm going to turn you over to Jevan Howard to share his journey as an early career professional and what he thinks may be his next steps going forward.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me this evening. Thank you to Dr. Edwards for inviting me to share this talk on the process of forming an early geoscience professional. So I prepared a short presentation highlighting and some of the things that I've learned since graduating from the department in 2018. So I'll just try to share that quickly. Okay. All right, so my topic today is geosciences and the processes of forming an early career professional. Okay, so as a new graduate, the world of work and establishing a career can be a daunting task. There can be uncertainty, in what area to specialize in, if you decide to pursue postgraduate studies, along with finding a job or internship in your field to set you on the right track. Sometimes you may not know which career path in your field is best for you. I know that is something that I struggled with throughout most of my studies. I had a general idea of what I wanted to do, but narrowing down to what I wanted to set my career in was a little challenging. So my journey so far, as Dr. Edwards pointed out, shortly after finishing my degree, I was fortunate enough to be awarded a CRIF internship, and I was placed in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Initially, I was a bit nervous about the whole process. I've never been to another Caribbean country outside of Jamaica, and ideally I wanted to be placed back to Jamaica in somewhere that I was familiar with. But through coaching, I set my mind on going to St. Vincent, and my time there was perhaps one of the most enjoyable that I've had since leaving school. So I worked at the National Emergency Management Office, or NEMO, for 2 months. My roles there were to just assist the staff in a lot of their projects, which included setting up satellite warehouses for hurricane preparedness, receiving aid, and stocking those warehouses for vulnerable communities in St. Vincent, as long as doing outreach to communities around St. Vincent about the importance of disaster preparedness, disaster management, and what they can do to prepare themselves in the event of a natural disaster. I was also privileged enough to be a part of a SEDEMA council that was held at NEMO during that time, and be able to have firsthand experience of what it's like being in the emergency management, control room, and the whole planning and project management aspect of it. After my internship, I was employed at the Barbados Light and Power Company in asset management. And that was more focused on GIS, or Geographic Information Systems. So this was really my first formal introduction into the world of work, and the opportunity for me to use some of the skills that I may have gained in school and in my degree to put them to use. So I was a part of a project that the Light and Power was doing in heading out of their new electric meters. And they wanted persons familiar in GIS to apply their skills in building up a mapping network across Barbados, showing the connections of those meters. I was a little concerned about it because, as a new graduate, you want to be, especially a science graduate, you want to be in a field where you're be able to apply your scientific knowledge. But considering that it was still GIS and I was familiar with the program and what to do, I still took it on with stride and was able to learn a lot from my time at the Barbados Light and Power Company. So if I was to give us a blueprint, per se, to a new graduate out of school, considering my own journey so far, part one, my first tip or piece of advice would be to focus on personal development. So developing different types of skill sets for the world of work. Okay, so you have in school is mainly focused on academia, studying, being able to retain as much knowledge and understanding as you possibly can. But when it comes to work, professional work environment, there are a number of different skills that you need to really set your career on a right path. Okay, so there are technical skills, the knowledge you gain from study being that degree, what you did in your degree program, knowledge you may have gained from extra courses outside of your degree, things like that. There's people skills, being an effective teammate. Being an effective teammate is very important when it comes to the world of work. I know, especially when it comes to degrees, that any student that you may speak to can tell you that they hate group projects, working with other people. Everybody's focused on their own grades. They don't want to be, have to rely on other people to do things. But being an effective teammate is something that's very important, because what you learn quickly when you leave school is that it's not focused on you. You work in teams. Everybody has the same goal, be it research, be it development, be it outreach, anything. So being able to work well with others is a skill that they don't necessarily teach you as a formal course in school, but they try to bring you into the fold by having you do group projects and that kind of thing. So there's business skills. So more than likely, out of school, you tend to be working in a business, an organization. Being able to work effectively within your organization is a definite skill that you would need to develop as a new or early professional, regardless of the field, be it geosciences or whatever. The goal of being able to have the focus and the goal of your companies in your mind as you do your day-to-day work is something that is very important. Okay, so to me, these three skill sets are some of the early building blocks that a new graduate should put on their forefront in their mind to be able to gather themselves into entering the world of work. Right. So another thing that I've come to realize early is don't rely only on your degree. Your degree is like just a key to get the attention of employers, of people looking to get you through the door. There's so many other things that you may not learn in school that you may have to take the initiative, the discipline to learn on your own. I know that at Leighton Power, I was exposed to drone work. They used a lot of drones and mapping in, especially relating to asset management, to inspect poles, to do mapping, to have that aerial underground, which you're not really exposed to during school. And also programming languages, learning Python, JavaScript, C. So many things call for some kind of technical programming knowledge these days. And being able to have some sort of basic understanding of programming and computer literacy and skills, very important. Since working at CIMH, I've been exposed to using a lot of programming languages, so Python and XML, working with GEOL servers, being able to represent maps in GIS in a way that the average consumer can do, but on a back end where you would need to know the code and how to represent those things. An interesting thing that I found out is that since working in GIS and especially at CIMH, I haven't produced like a formal map of anything in a while. Most of my work is centered around running an analysis or collecting data, being able to interpret data, being exposed to satellite imagery, flood susceptibility, watershed generation, all these different things. It's more than just building maps so people can look at them. You need to, when it comes to research, especially in science, it's a lot of interpretation and being able to understand what you see. So focus on skills that are high in demand and easily transferable. It's so easy to say that I want to learn a particular skills, but it's so niche and so specific that it only really applies to one particular job market. So having a goal of being able to have easily transferable skills that are high in demand would probably get you a lot further than just having a single degree. Employers are looking for persons that they can have experience and know how to do things that the industry may be using. For example, drone technology. Drone technology is something that is new, upcoming. It's not even upcoming, it's pretty established at this point. And being able to fly a drone, understand how they work, being able to take data footage from a drone and being able to implement it into your workflow is something that's very attractive. So in your early career, it becomes less about you. It's easy to, when you're in school, it's easy to stand out as a model student once you do have good grades and, just keep your head down. No, you become part of an organization working towards a shared goal. What you do can significantly impact others and vice versa. So you're not doing work to be graded. You're doing work that somebody may look at. Somebody may need to be able to progress further in their project. Okay. Create greater value for your team and your organization. Think about what makes you a valuable team member. Are you someone with a strong work ethic? Are you able to make your teammates' work life a little easier? In your early career, sometimes you may not end up in a desired area or job that you may want in the very beginning. And that is something that, especially when you're starting out, that is a real reality. You may not you may study geosciences, but you may end up working, somewhere in insurance as your first job. Focus on who you work with and not so much what you work on, right? So the relationships, the people that you meet at those jobs. Be inquisitive, ask questions, see what other people are working on, talk to other persons on the team or departments that may be interesting to you. Align yourself with persons further along in their career in an area you find interesting. So one thing I was able to learn from my time at Light and Power, there are so many, being surrounded by engineers, electrical engineers. It's not something that I've been exposed to in school, but just being able to talk to them, hearing being included, hearing their perspective on the industry, seeing how that could apply to my area of study, my field. It allows you to grow, to form connections. It's an easy way of networking. And align yourself with a mentor. Find someone that maybe if you are in a organization that is catered to your field, maybe there's someone there at a position that you see yourself to being in your late stage career. Align yourself with that person. Ask them what they did, what qualifications, what certifications they have to get to that position. Be sure to take away something valuable from every position you get, be it skills or connections. Always be able to think at the end of my employment at somewhere, what did I gain here? What skills did I get? What did I learn? Did I leave here with any certifications? Does this job offer something that I may be able to do for free? For example, will they be willing to sponsor you to do your drone certification? That is something that you get from one job. It may not have been what you wanted initially, but that is a skill that can take you through your entire career and your workforce. So think about what you want and enjoy. Working in academia, especially when it comes to science, is not the end all of what you can do with a geoscience career. This is something that, especially for me, that I've been thinking about a lot recently. When I've just been, throughout my degree, you get exposed to, especially a geoscience degree, because it's so, what I liked about it and what made me chose me to gravitate towards geoscience is a mixture of not just geology, but geology and geography. So it's such a broad, all-encompassing field where you get perspectives from different fields and how you can tie them together. So you can see that being in academia is not the only thing that you could want. You may not be interested in doing research. That's the honest truth. You may not be interested in doing it. You generally may not even be good at it. And sometimes it is easy to think that maybe science, after being in science, maybe I'll end up being a teacher or something like that, which is nothing wrong with being a teacher, but sometimes it's easy to fall into that category where people ask you, so what are you going to do with that degree when you're finished, right? So be upfront with what you're looking for and consider what interests you. Maybe not be good at research, but you're good at management. You could look into project management, managing projects for still related to geosciences, but something that gives you more granular control of what you can do and being able to lead people. And don't get discouraged. It's so easy to see, especially as a new graduate, when you come out of your degree, especially in undergrad, and all of the positions that you see require, a master's degree or someone with 5 years experience and like 5 certificates in something. It's easy to get discouraged where you said, this is the field that I'm supposed to be going into, but I still feel underqualified after having a degree. The opportunities are still endless, even though they may not be what you want in the very beginning. So stay open to learning. I've always said that I have sometimes almost toxic relationship with personal development and learning, because I'm always curious about something. I'm always wanting to learn something new, a new skill in some area, in some field. Learn new things about your science. One of the fascinating things and one of the good things about science and geoscience, and things are always changing. New things are always being discovered. And it gives you an opportunity and a chance to continue to update yourself. It's not static, it's dynamic, it's constantly moving. Learn new things about yourself. Like I said, throughout your degree process, you may find that some parts of your degree you were not particularly interested in. You may not be interested in some courses, even though it can be a lot of pressure at a moment in time because you're already in the course and you need to get a grade and these things. But to understand what you take away from that course, that part of your degree after you were finished. How did you feel doing it? Is it something that you could see yourself doing for the long haul? For me, we were exposed to GIS in second year. And from the minute I entered what I understood from the first lecture, I knew that GIS was a skill that I wanted to have. I love technology. I love being able to utilize technology in a way to complement the world. And GIS being able to use mapping and being outside, being able to use computers to visualize things was something that I've always been interested in. And I decided to take extra courses, summer courses, courses of UE, just massive online learning experiences offered by Esri, all of these different things to be able to learn new programs, new skills that it would offer, is able to offer to you and be able to offer to the world of work. So keep an open mind and let curiosity guide you. So one thing that as an early graduate or someone looking in their early career, unless you take that immediate step of what you want to do right after undergrad, is should you get considered to going into a postgraduate degree? The question is, do it if it can open a door. You can. Some jobs require you to have a master's. Some require you to have some kind of formal postgraduate. It's not necessarily, I wouldn't say that is necessarily a need or something to you to do. And this is something that I've been realizing quite recently. I've always thought that, or maybe it's just the way it is in the Caribbean, or how we were meant to think that there's a certain order to things, that, you roll bachelor's, master's, PhD. Sometimes it does, you need to really sit and think of if this path is the right way for you to go. For me, I've been considering maybe not doing a master's or just doing a postgraduate certificate, because I don't see what you need to consider, what value that having a postgraduate certificate, that extra years of schooling, would bring to your employer. Because you spend so much time in school, you're not working, you don't have any experience, and you just be extremely educated with no practical way of how to apply everything, all the knowledge that you know, into the working world. So consider branching your postgraduate studies, if you choose to do it, away from your bachelor's field of study. What you do in undergrad doesn't have to also be what you do in postgrad. You can do something completely different, something completely outside of your field that's able to complement your postgrad. I know people that started off with a geology degree, and their plans, their goals were to get into maybe petroleum. Now, over time of working within the industry after undergrad, they realized that, maybe the world is in a state where now it's transitioning to renewable and sustainable energy. And they decided to do a master's in renewable and sustainable energy. And then you find that, this is more of a passion of what I want to do, So being able to just think about what you need to do, especially when it comes to postgraduate education, what you want to do and how it will complement your further career goals, is a good step. And there are always other alternatives. There are always ways to learn, especially we live in such a connected world where there's so many resources online. There's so many things that you can do from home. There's so many skills, there's so many things that you can learn, certifications, qualifications, all these different things that are available to you. So in summary, don't pursue your dream job so doggedly in the beginning that you miss out other opportunities out there. the most unexpected paths may lead you to becoming the professional you need to be, and not necessarily the professional that you want to be. Sometimes the step outside of the realm of, okay, I have a geoscience degree, so I need to stay within geology or geography. I need to start off in maybe some sort of consultancy. I need to start working immediately out of school into applying everything that I know about, I don't know, geomorphology into something that, into the world of work, so that I can say that I put my degree to use. Something the most unexpected, where the things that are maybe outside of where you thought they would go, but it may lead you straight back into that path. The skills that you gain at other jobs, the skills that you decided to pursue on your own and take on, can what lead you into becoming, if you want to be a geoscience professional, but gaining knowledge of how to talk to people, being able to working at different jobs gives you know how to relate to clients in your consultancy. I always think that when the freedom that having a broad set of skills allows you to gain is such a rewarding experience. I always think of when I was doing my thesis, and I was so concerned about it, because even though there were so many things in geology and geography that I was interested in, but there was nothing exactly that I would say that I wanted to, was so passionate about researching and wanting to do. In the end, I started thinking about my career and what I wanted to, the field that I wanted to be in. And I always had a passion for environmental studies. And I started to think, how could I bring environmental? Because we didn't have any formal courses in geoscience about biogeography or anything like that. How could I bring that aspect into my thesis and make it different? Something that would give me an experience to maybe meet new people, that would help me along the way, to give me experience that I probably did not get from the department at the time. So I decided to do, after coaching, I decided to do a thesis in biogeography on my own. It caused me to have to branch outside of the Department of Geography into life sciences, meet new people, meet the herbarium there to understand different plants. And I always said that choice to do something different, to branch outside of the field that I was studying and gain insight into something new, was always something that was very rewarding to me. Because while, most of my other classmates, they were doing geology, doing river work, stuff like that, I was collecting plants. And I found a way to tie those two together to something that mattered to me, because it made it easier. It felt like it didn't feel like I was doing something specifically just for a grade, even though it was important. It allowed me to merge two things that I genuinely cared about into something that would still be interesting and presentable at the end for an undergraduate thesis. So I spent that summer in Jamaica collecting plants, learning about new plant species, their names, why they grow in certain environments, all these different things, and be able to find a way to join them together in geomorphology. And that experience has stayed with me for a very long time, because, like I said, one of my reasons for not just purely doing a geography or geology degree is because I didn't want to feel trapped, or not necessarily trapped, more confined into a specific area of study. And being allowed to branch out and do different things was something that was very beneficial to me. And I was so glad for the experience to do that. So thank you for having me. I hope that my little insight into my brief career and the experiences that I've gained throughout the years, and still learning about myself, have been helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jevan. I will lead off before I add my own congratulatory message with one from our head of department, Dr. James Williamson. And it reads, "Thank you for this presentation, Javan. Always knew you were wise beyond your years. The perspective you have brought is extremely useful for our students." She had to step out to another meeting, but she left her congratulations. And I'm going to take a little liberty here in that in addition to things of geoscience, GIS, and of the department, Javan and I have also had conversations about faith. And there is a quote from Matthew that says, when the master said to the servant, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount. So now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together." And today is definitely for me a very celebratory day in bringing back someone who is just out of the department for 4 years, but brought such rich observations, shared many truths and insights for students who are in the department. And I would dare to say for persons who are still professionals, about remaining open to opportunity as you navigate your professional road. And so I would just lead off with those remarks because I am very pleased with what was presented today. And now I'm going to open to others who may wish to pose questions to Javan Howard or to make their own comments based on what has been said before us. So if there are any hands raised, I'm just checking quickly. I don't see any hands up, but if there's anyone that wants to ask a question, and I encourage the students to use this opportunity to share or to get some words from someone who is just out. Go ahead, Joseph Prosper.
Good afternoon. To the gentleman, what about things like artificial intelligence and geoinformatics and remote sensing and satellite? And any plans to find jobs that branch out in that area? It was from my degree was geography, and it's from that I ended up in all those things over time.
Yeah, that is a very good question. What I can say is that one of the things I've been grateful for from working at CIMH, every task that I've given is something completely different and something in a more technical realm. So I spend a lot of my time doing a lot of technical work, especially with new technologies, especially when it comes to like programming and using a lot of software that I may not be familiar with. And like I said, the world is constantly changing and it's becoming a lot more technical, and you need to have some more skills especially in more, computerized areas that would aid in a workflow. So I've not been for example, I've not spent a lot of time doing a lot of field work. It's learning a new programming language, to automate a task. When you have large data sets, it's so much easier to code it, to be able to do it a lot faster, to work more efficiently, to work more effectively. I've done courses since starting my position at CIMH in synthetic aperture radar, using different satellites, Sentinel, Landsat, to be able to run analysis to detect oil spills or calculate NDVI. Things that you probably would not have been able to think about during a regular just undergrad degree, where you're learning more theory and bookwork, academia, and that kind of thing. When it comes to being able to implement technology to complement what into your workflow is very important. I don't have any knowledge or I can say technical experience in artificial intelligence, but it's something that,
Yeah.
like I said, I have yet. Yeah, like I said, it was something
Right.
that
Right.
I am very interested in because I love technology and how fast it changes, how much easier and convenient it can make our life. So I'm hoping that if I don't get the experience to work with it right now, it definitely is something that I would look into on my own, maybe take an online course or something to gain that skill and knowledge.
All right. Thank you, sir. Dr. Edwards, your mic is muted.
Thank you. Yes, I had muted it while you were speaking. Thanks for the nudge. I was asking if there's anyone else that wishes to speak.
I say there's a question from Peter Gay.
Oh, go ahead. I'm not. Go ahead, Peter Gay. It's in the chat. Yes. Oh, it's in the chat. Sorry. It says, so it's commendation and point. So Peter Gay Harris says, great presentation and advice. Any additional advice to students who have acquired certificates but need the chance to utilize their skills learned? Would you recommend joining professional networks or just working on projects and sharing on the various platforms?
That's a good question. So being able to utilize the skills that you've learned, maybe through professional certificates or otherwise, is always a big challenge because being able to utilize it is what is important. So as I said, doing projects on your own to build perhaps a portfolio, especially in GIS, is something that's important. If there's something that interests you, you could also always say, maybe I can find a way to represent this in a simpler way that would, build my experience on different things. Maybe community projects that need some kind that you think could benefit from some kind of professional or technical skills in, for example, JS. Maybe someone will ask you to build a map for them. You can always, as a young or early professional, you can always find time to volunteer your skills. Volunteering that can be very beneficial too, because it gives you chance, it gives you exposure, it puts you out there, it allows you to build a portfolio of work, especially when it comes to gaining job interviews or being in the early process of working. You have visual proof and work that you can share with employers, organizations to show what you have done and what they can use you for, and perhaps how they can improve upon this you have. So being involved in, I know there are a lot of geological societies, geographical societies, things like that you can join to allow you to put yourself out there to perhaps gain the opportunity, the chance to volunteer your skills, and being able to just build a portfolio of work that you can use to show.
Note. That's some excellent points coming out there. I think what we're hearing today is that there is no defined path go down this road. Or even if you set off on a road, you do come to intersections where you have to make decisions. And there are many ways to get or develop a career. Some persons do it the route of, an undergrad degree, a postgraduate degree, and then they sort of then venture out to work. Some persons do a hybrid where they're working, they're studying, and other persons go the route of an undergraduate program and then layer on small modules of training and skill sets, whether it be coding, as Javan has pointed out today, or learning to becoming a certified drone pilot, things like that. What I think is important is the takeaway message of remaining open to the acquisition of skills. And of course, being open to how you are on the teams that you join in your various places of work. Because you can also take away not only hard skills such as competencies, but how you learn to work with people, how you actually work with people become soft skills that can carry you very far. And we often don't emphasize to students the development of soft skills. So many persons moan about group work, but trust me, the world of work is the biggest group project ever, and it doesn't really end because you constantly have to negotiate people, personalities, and the projects that you have to execute together. Is there anyone, am I missing anyone? I'm checking the chat and I think that was, so Javan, you have another bit of a compliment from Jackie Mo Cox, who said that you did a good job today and wishing you all the best. And Gail John said, excellent points and insights. I don't know if you were keeping up with the chat, but you have some persons who have offered their congratulations on today's presentation.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
We have some other persons, Carrie Parkinson, O'Neill Rufus, Abraham Alexander is one of our students. Is anybody else wants to weigh in at this time?
I would like to say something.
Sure, go ahead.
To Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard, when you're going to return to St. Vincent and do geosciences on the volcano they had there, the volcanic eruption that they had there. You're trying to tell me that you don't write the government to St. Vincent and tell them give you a contract for 3 years that you can sit down and I don't want to go back there. You don't want to go back there, sir?
No, I would not say that.
Well, take the flight back out to Barbados. What are you doing in Jamaica? Good afternoon, sir.
I've been very interested in coming back to St. Vincent, especially, well, since the volcanic eruption. I know that it was a traumatic event, but definitely to me, it was something that was very interesting. If even just to, you know, just from my own personal interest, I would definitely just go back to St. Vincent and maybe take a hike up to Soufriere. When I was there, I didn't get a chance to do it. Kind of sad about that, no, but definitely. I'm very open to coming by there. I love St. Vincent.
So that makes you a little bit happier now, Mr. Prosper? That he's at least considering going back?
Yes, because I don't understand this, Doc. He know that need is in this part of the Caribbean. He knows that. He was down in this part of the Caribbean, so he know that the skill that he have developed through time is not in this part of the Caribbean. And I can't see a Caribbean government saying no to him if he said, well, look, my expertise here. But since he went to St. Vincent, had a whole volcanic eruption, hey, you have the right man there, but he went Barbados with light and power, back in Jamaica, not sure what he's doing.
Well, light and power, it was before the volcanic eruption, to be fair.
All right, okay, Doc.
In his defense.
All right. Well, good presentation. Very interesting.
Thank you.
So I don't see any other hands or comments. So it is just for me now to formally thank once again. I gave my sort of post-presentation happy remarks, but to formally thank Jevan Howard as one of our more recent graduates for taking the time to prepare such a thoughtful presentation and reflective presentation. The presentations are uploaded after processing of the video to the Faculty of Science and Technology website, so you can find them afterwards. So if there was one you missed, I think, for instance, like Mr. Prosper missed week 1 with Larry Miller, you can catch up on it. And for others, if you thought this was useful, you can tell others that it will be available online. So it's not gone. If you didn't missed it today, it's recorded and the recordings are posted online. So we'll have another brown bag next week to be announced, and we will have a postgraduate seminar with one of our PhD candidates on December 1st. So we'll have 2 to 3 more sessions before the end of the semester. So stay with us, journey with us in the Geography and Geology Department's brown bag seminars. And thanks again for being here today to our audience. And most of all, thanks to our presenter for taking the time to put together his talk and reflections as an early career professional. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Good afternoon. Thank you.